Welcome to Tekedia Daily. I'm Ndubuisi, Ekekwe. A conversation today will focus on Facebook e-commerce in Nigeria. Of course, when we are talking about Facebook e-commerce, we are largely having a conversation on the different redesigns that we are seeing within the African continent with regards to entities that are opening offices, opening small shops in Facebook, and they are now transacting businesses within that ecosystem. And this Facebook includes Instagram and also include WhatsApp. So over the last few days, we have seen many changes across the broad e-commerce sector, specifically, I would say Nigeria. Konga was bought by Xenos. Xenos is the company that owns Udala. And of course, OLS founded and owned by one of the largest companies in Africa, NASPAS. The Nigerian operation was shut down. We continue to see stress. We continue to see total redesigns in the e-commerce sector as companies continue to struggle, improving their marginal cost with growth. So what is happening here is that there are a lot of excitement when you get it. But now finding a path to profitability is always something that has eluded many of these entities. It's not something that started today. From the days of Kalahari to the days of Mokality, and of course, the time has always been that what changes e-commerce in Nigeria is not the typical things that we see online. The problem has to do with the offline elements. That is actually where you have so many challenges. Because for you to move an item from one location to the other, you have to beat the open market sellers, you have to beat the supermarket, you have to beat the traffic light sellers. And by the time you do those things without any national infrastructure, without any postal service, you are certainly going to improve your costs to the extent that there is no way you can beat those entities. And if you try to do that for a very long time, the path to profitability is not going to come. So, but these Facebook entrepreneurs are not necessarily going to even find it easy because they still have to deal with the same problem. That you have opened a shop to sell t-shirts, and Facebook does not mean that you are going to avoid the same problems that Konga, Jumia, and other e-commerce entities are actually confronting daily. Yeah, you can sell 200 t-shirts, but you are not necessarily going to sell 2,000. Because the reason is the people that are going to buy these t-shirts are living in different areas and different locations in Nigeria. And you have to pay the cost that they are going to actually see in alternative outlets. So you want to sell a t-shirt for 500 naira, but in front of his house, there is a market. Or there is a t-shirt boy on the traffic light that sells the same t-shirt for 400 naira. And now you want to charge him 2,000 naira for you to ship it to him. Automatically, you don't have a business. So, but there are marginals, there are outliers, people that are living in places that they may not necessarily have access to these particular items. Sure, as a Facebook vendor, you can discover them, you can find them, but they are not going to make you an entrepreneur with the capacity to scale, with the capacity to blossom, with the organic ability that you become unbounded by geography of the location where you do business. So you will be a small business, but you are not going to be an entrepreneur. You are not going to have the capacity to buy vehicles. You're not going to have the capacity to rent a building. You're not going to hire thousands or hundreds of people. You're not going to actually have real impacts in the sector. But as a small business owner, you'll be fine. Unless that problem of logistics, that problem that bounds the marginal costs, unless we can fix them, we will continue to have the same problem. It's irrespective of the fact that you have eliminated the commission cost which you could have paid to Kongia, you could have paid to Jumia under the commission-based framework, where if you sell something on their platforms, they charge you a fee. Of course, in Facebook, you don't have to pay for that, but that's just the only thing that you are getting. But the other things are still going to be the same. I am not saying that Facebook entrepreneurs are not doing business. They are doing business. But the reality here is that they will not grow to become those great e-commerce companies most of us are actually expecting to happen in Nigeria. So the new model we need, no one knows, because we've not seen anything that worked, unfortunately. And also the experimentation process will continue because someone has to find it out. We do believe vividly that in the future of commerce, digital and offline, in addition, are going to be key elements to the future. We have seen around the world, from Alibaba to Amazon, how entities are growing, building structures in the digital space. But you do not just take it for granted what the United States Postal Service did for Amazon. You can't take it for granted what Alibaba, what is benefiting from the massive infrastructure redesigns and capacities in China. So if you think that you can build those infrastructure yourself, what happens here is this. You have to essentially focus on building those infrastructure, because that could actually be a more profitable business than e-commerce. If you have the capacity to have railways, if you have the capacity to have cars and vehicles and trucks, and have the capacity to have planes that can actually move around communities and cities, and then you have another business that may even be more profitable than e-commerce. So the challenge remains that there is that limitation that constrains and bounds an e-commerce business to the capacity that it cannot grow and enjoy the unbounded distribution nature of the internet. You are doing e-commerce in Lagos and you're focusing on Lagos. Why don't you ship things to Umuahia? Why don't you ship things to Opopo? Why don't you ship things to Kano? It has to do with distribution. And by the time you begin to localize your operations, it means that e-commerce is no more a digital e-commerce business, because what is happening here, that you are actually a physical business that is bounded in Lagos. That is not how an internet business works. An internet business is unconstrained and is unbounded. It means that you have the capacity to serve customers at least within your national geography boundary. But now, by the time you begin to select cities where you can ship, it means that you are not really running a digital business. It means that what you are doing is physical business. It's just the same way supermarket will say, oh, we have a shop in Owerri. Of course, you are living in Aba, you can't go to Owerri and buy from that supermarket just because you want to buy from that supermarket. That's not how it works. And if you think that e-commerce can work the same way, it means that you have not mastered the very key element of marginal cost, which is actually the key thing that will help you to scale and become a true digital electronic business. And once you cannot handle that marginal cost, you cannot find profitability, because growth comes with pains. And most times that growth actually destroys your business. And that is what is happening in most of the e-commerce operations in Nigeria. My strategy, I have advocated that we have to move into an aggregation construct model. If you move into the aggregation construct, you can find value. But even the aggregation constructs cannot be done in isolation. It means that you have to now move at a level of volume that you may not necessarily be selling, at people that cannot buy things that, when you add the distribution cost, cannot cover at least your basic costs. This is not going to be an easy thing, but I've stated in Harvard Business Review that there will be profitability ahead, but it's just like some entities may be moving faster than the infrastructure can actually support. You're listening to Tekedia there.